What's going on? George, OTRF Transport, and I'm making this video as a follow-up to the last one you just saw. Link to it in the description, as well as a box on screen. But in the beginning, I talked about how I was gearing up for a legal battle with my last employer that ultimately went nowhere because I didn't have a case, and Texas laws are not on the side of an employee. You have to excuse me, I'm out of breath. I just ran from the shitty Motel 6 I'm stuck at while they fix my tractor. But that's enough of that. So basically what happened was, I used to live in the Houston area. Specifically, I was in Katy, Texas. I worked for one of the 3 major local multi-stop food service companies. It was a local home daily position. Hated that job, but ultimately, I loved the benefits and that I could see my wife and kids every day. Ultimately, to keep it short, what happened was, I came back from my route. I was emptying the back of the trailer. That's something we had to do. We had to get the stack of pallets out. We had to get our equipment out. If you had a pallet jack, you had to take it out. Me, I didn't have one. I was still new, so I was just dollies and ramps. I had to make sure it was also clean, so there was a lot of sweeping, blah, blah, blah. I go outside the trailer into the warehouse to grab a broom, and then I noticed when I step on the dock plate, my feet kind of shift, like, oh crap, there might be some oil here. That's the first thing I thought, or maybe some sort of a chemical that spilled, because it wasn't just food, there was chemicals there. I then tried to readjust my footing, and as I adjusted my footing, next thing you know, the soles of my feet are pointed at the ceiling. I'm laying there, and the first thing I yelled was an F-bomb, and it hurt like absolute hell. I never experienced that before, just flat on my back, all 230 pounds of me. So next thing you know, the guy comes up and he says, hey, is everything okay? Just stay there. Management comes out, and before you know it, a workers' comp claim gets filed. And I go through the entire process, and this is where it gets infuriating. I wanted an MRI, I wanted a CAT scan. They didn't give me one. The physical therapist ended up clearing me, and before you know it, I'm back on a route. And the first thing I thought, as soon as I picked up one of the plates, or not one of the plates, one of the packages, was, oh crap, my back really felt it. Something is wrong. So I ended up contacting an attorney who referred me to a workers' comp attorney. I went back and forth with both of them, and because of Texas law, I had no case. They told me that everything they did was legal, and the workers' comp attorney even asked, why was I calling? But in a nutshell, that company had a per case pay system, per mile pay system, and a per day pay system. And because I was injured, I was not on a route. It was basically per day pay. And throughout the entire time I was on light duty because of my back injury throughout the whole medical process, they cut me down to 90% of my pay, and then eventually 80%. And then I realized at that moment, if I keep this up, my family and I are not going to have a place to live. But if I go back on my route, because of what I felt, my back is going to get completely obliterated. And I knew something would have gotten worse. So ultimately, I made the decision to leave since I had no case. And next thing you know, I ended up at Prime. So there's the prequel to the last video.